Hi Pit Family, it's me, the Pit Papa. Sorry about last week, I didn't manage to get a video out, real life got in the way, but I'm back this week and we have a really special video for you. We're making one of my favorite things in the whole world, which are patty melts. Before we talk about them though, I want to point out a few channel things. First, as you can see in my hand, this is a wireless lavalier mic that I picked up to work in conjunction with my iPhone, which is how I film my videos. And I'm still learning the settings, so if the audio is a little bit off in this video, I apologize, but I think in the long run it's going to be great for the channel and will let me capture a lot more of the live, spontaneous audio that happens during a cook. In addition, if you haven't, please be sure to click the subscribe button on the video, leave a like if you enjoy the video, and please leave a comment and share it with a friend. We're trying to grow our community, expand the reach of the channel, and help more people get into outdoor cooking, and the best way to do that is to do all the algorithm specific things and really get YouTube to push this into other people's feeds. Thanks so much for that. Let's talk about patty melts. A patty melt is a burger patty, grilled sauteed onions, sourdough bread or marble rye bread, and Swiss cheese. I'm using marble rye, it's my personal favorite, and they're so good. They're velvety and decadent, and they feel super luxurious while being incredibly easy to make. And one of the most beneficial and beautiful parts about them is you can do them anywhere. I'm doing mine out on the grill primarily today, but you can do them on a pancake griddle in your kitchen. You can do them in a frying pan. You could even honestly take one of the propane griddles that you would take camping, and you can make them there and have an awesome meal while camping. So I'm really excited to show you this recipe. I started messing with it about 6 months ago and I'm really pleased with it. I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see, we have the medium to medium large skillet here, in this case frying pan. We're going to set our heat on it to medium low, so about a 4 on the case of my burner, and we're going to let that get warm. And then we're going to get the butter in there, and the butter needs to get nice and melted so it can coat everything up. So we're going to let that get taken care of, and then we'll be back to add the onions and some salt and get this all sauteed. Alright, so we've got the butter all nice and melted. It's time to get the onions in. Just going to grab a handful of those right now to get that butter just a little bit cooled down so it doesn't keep smoking on us. Then get all the rest of those onions in there. And then I'm going to get them nice and coated with this butter so that they cook evenly. So you're going to work them around in that butter, coat them up. And this is a pretty important step. Otherwise, if you just throw them in there, they will burn on the bottom. And while deeply caramelized sauteed onions taste amazing, burned onions taste terrible. Unless it's in the form of onion ash, but that's a different conversation entirely. We're not putting that on our burger today. Okay, give them a nice couple of tosses. Make sure they're all coated. Then it's time for a little bit of salt, so just a pinch, not too much here. And you're gonna go right over the top of it all. And give it one more quick mix around. And then you're going to let this cook. Now this is going to cook for about 20 to 25 minutes until these get nice and brown and caramelized in here, and you're going to need to keep them moving so they don't burn and so they don't cook too unevenly. But it's really delicious once it's ready. Now if you notice while you are browning your onions that your color starts to get a little bit out of control, feel free to reduce the heat on your stove and use a little bit lower heat because you want to get that nice even brown. You don't want anything to burn. Okay, so while your onions are over there working, it's time to get these burgers seasoned up and ready to go. So this is Montreal steak seasoning. You can just buy it at the store. This is personally the McCormick version, but whatever version of Montreal steak seasoning you want. I'm gonna get it here on these burgers on both sides. And you just want to get a nice coating on there, but pretty evenly on these burgers. Now, something to note about this recipe is traditionally this recipe is done on a flat top griddle. And if you have a griddle pan that you want to throw out on your grill, awesome. If you're super cool and you own one of those Blackstone grills or any of the equivalents outdoor, you can do that. You can obviously do this on like a pancake griddle in your house. I'm just going to do it out over the grates itself, but it's up to you. Okay, let's get these flipped here. I'm not using the finger that I just touched the meat with when I was helping flip, just using the other two. We're going to re-season this other side, nice and even across. And this has salt and pepper and garlic and onion and all that good stuff in here. So it makes these really quite tasty, and I use it on a lot of my more regular burgers rather than something like the teriyaki burger like we did last time. Okay, so once those are all seasoned up, I'm gonna let these hang out for a few minutes while those onions get a little bit closer, and then we'll get them out on the grill or on the griddle, whichever you're using. Okay, so we're outside, gas grill here. Now, one important thing to mention is, like I said, you can do this on a griddle, and your actual ability to do it on like a camp griddle makes these a great meal for camping. But I'm doing it out here on the grill just specifically to get the nice char flavor in my burger because it adds another dimension. But where you do it's up to you. Let's go ahead and get these burgers on the grill. We're going to let those cook up, flip them over in about 2 to 3 minutes, cook them on the other side, get everything nice and even throughout. Then we've got to take them back inside because our onions will be done, and we need to use the onions, some marble rye bread, a little bit more butter, and some Swiss cheese. We're going to make an amazing burger that's super easy to do outside and even while camping. Okay, it's been about 3 minutes. These are good to flip. So we're going to get them flipped over. Get a little bit of a flare up from the grease on top, but that's all right. Okay, then we're going to let these go for about another 2 to 3 minutes. Once they're all done, we'll get them on our platter and get them inside so we can make the melt portion of the remainder of this meal. Okay, so those burgers are going to be either done or just below where we want them, which is okay because they are going to go on a griddle inside to get the nice melt texture. So let's go ahead and get them off the grill. Now, while I'm doing that, I hope everybody has enjoyed the video so far. And if you have, please be sure to leave a like down below. Leave a comment on what you thought. Do you like patty melts? Do you like sauteed onions? Any of that? Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see me cook. And be sure you're subscribed. It's totally free to you. It really helps us out, gets us into more people's feeds so that we can grow our community and help other people overcome the stigma and possibly fear of outdoor cooking and just make friends along the way. So if you do those things, that would really, really help me out. Now, only 3 of these patties in my case are destined for patty melts because my children won't eat them, but my wife and I will. So we're going to make 3 patty melts. The next step involves the grill, which is why this is a perfect meal for when you go camping with a camp griddle. Okay, we've got everything ready. We're back inside on our electric griddle. As you can see, we have our patties here, we have our onions, and these are our last ingredients. We have a beautiful marble rye bread, and we have Swiss cheese, and a little bit more butter that we're gonna put on this griddle. Now, this is an electric griddle, but like I said, you can do this on a propane griddle while camping, or you can do it on a Blackstone if you've got one or whatever. But this step I always do on the griddle rather than out on the grill, so we get a nice even browning and texture and toast on our bread. So let's go ahead and we're gonna get the butter here, and we're gonna get the butter on our griddle. Nice layer of it right there. Okay. We're gonna get 1 piece of each of these breads down for each sandwich. And then we're gonna get that patty on there. So 1 patty per bread. As you can see, cutting that big marble rye in half is just perfect for these. And then I'm gonna go with the onions. I do have tongs here, but I'm just gonna use my hands because, you know, I can. And on mine, I'm gonna go a lot thicker on the onions than on my wife's because she doesn't like them as much as me. Get some onions on all of them. And then Swiss cheese and the topper. And do this on all 3 of these sandwiches. And you're gonna let that go on each side for about another 2 minutes per side. Let it all come through, toast that bread up, melt down that cheese, finish the burgers if they need to, and it's gonna be great. I'll come back to you when we flip them over. Okay, these have been on for a couple of minutes and I'm smelling that toasted marble rye. It smells really, really good. We use our spatula here. We're gonna get these flipped over. You can see nice golden brown crust there. Give that just a little bit of a press and do that to the other 2. This is the critical one because it's gonna melt that cheese. And then when you pull it off, you're actually gonna do another flip so that the cheese is on the top and settles down over the entire sandwich, kind of like just like a nice cheese blanket. So we'll be back in just a minute. The second flip isn't gonna take anywhere near as long as the first flip. The butter's already browned, so it'll toast a little bit faster. It'll just make your bread browner. And indeed, the cheese is gonna melt a lot quicker because that heat's already coming up through. So we're gonna get these off really quick. So start with this first one, and like I said, you're gonna flip it back down, and there it is, beautiful golden. That melting cheese is just gonna drape nicely over what's left of that sandwich. And this one had a thicker slice of cheese, so it's not quite as melted. That's all right, and then you wanna obviously get these off so they don't burn, and put them wherever you want. And we're gonna give it a taste here as soon as I get, you know, this blazing hot grill out of my way. Okay, so we have 3 beautiful patty melts right off the griddle. Everything's nice and crispy and melted. We're gonna grab one. Now, sometimes you're gonna wanna put ketchup and mustard on this. I do occasionally, but today we're just going with the purest, nothing but the cheese, that seasoned beef, and that beautiful buttered rye bread. I really love patty melts. Especially if you don't go too heavy on the butter. Sometimes if you get them like at a restaurant, you can go too heavy on the butter and then they're really greasy. This is really, really good. That cheese blends in nicely. Be sure and get a slightly aged Swiss so you have a little bit more flavor. That's delicious. I hope you try it. Until next time, I've been the Pit Papa. See you outside.